Thank you all. Good afternoon. We appreciate you spending on your last day, the last session, time with us. And to be honest, after 3 days, you all look pretty good. You survived the day well and the days well, and we're excited to have you here with us. I have a question. I'm breaking the rules a little bit. I have a question for the audience to start. Any celebrity sightings? We're in Vegas. There's a Backstreet Boys concert coming. Anybody seen any celebrities?
Backstreet Boys were in our live booth.
Did you see them? Are they actually there?
Yeah, they're now done radio.
Backstreet Boys have been seen. They're in the building. That's exciting. Craig, there's some celebrities among us. That's the reason I'm asking the question. I'm excited to introduce some celebrities from my perspective, and I'll do that in just a second. My name is Matt Thomas. I've been with eBay 21 years, and I've spent much of that time in the motors organization, surrounding it, supporting it, loving it the entire time. I've met many of you. I'm excited that you're here. I really appreciate your support in the parts and accessories and the vehicles categories. It's my favorite part of the eBay business, and I hope it is yours as well. And hopefully through these conversations, it'll become even more exciting for you. But those celebrities I was talking about are sitting here next to me. First, we have Vladimir Barabak. We have Brad Burns, Vladimir here, Brad Burns and Chris Ball, some incredible sellers who have great experience, and we'll tap into their experience and their suggestions for you when we talk about driving innovation and growth on eBay, specifically eBay Motors and to an extent vehicles. So let's get started. I want to have these great gentlemen introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their selling story and set the stage for the questions you may want to ask them. Vladimir, let's start with you.
Sure. Again, my name is Volodymyr. I'm an immigrant from Ukraine, and we've been with eBay community since 2013. I'm very excited to be a part of this event. It's a big honor to share some of the experiences we had. Hopefully we can learn from it, something interesting and useful. And our company is United Tires. We specialize on sell used and new tires on eBay Motors. Thank you, eBay, for making our business succeed. Appreciate that. For me personally, starting a business, it was more of a survival option. Coming to a country with no English, no education, no knowledge in finances or tires. It was extremely difficult. And I had to figure everything out, basically work with whatever resources were accessible to create environment where I want to be. And I want to say this business is about partnership. That's where it started. From the moment we built a plan selling tires on eBay till today, there's still 3 major partners making decisions going forward. And we have hundreds of people working with us. I want to say the greatest strength of our company is our people. And what makes our business unique is the dedication, trust, and collaborative work. We have a group of people that put up a lot of work, hard work to make sure clients get the right product on time and with care. And I want to outline that this business also started with a friendship. We laid the foundation. Later on, we built a team that feels like a family. I'm very proud to be a part of that family, and I want to say eBay is a part of our family as well. I want to thank to my partners. Mike is here. Hello, Mike. Ivan might be watching. He didn't make it. But thank you guys for everything we have achieved. Truly appreciate it and looking forward for more great adventures.
Vladimir, thank you. Great introduction, fascinating business. We'll dive into a few questions for Vladimir in a minute, but you'll want to pay attention to what he says. He's grown a monster of a business in a very unique segment of inventory. Brad.
I'm Brad Burns with Undercar Parts. Chris? No, I'm just kidding. That was long, man. I wasn't planning for that, but that's okay. I've been doing this, or I've been selling on eBay since 2001. Did that with another warehouse distributor, and got to learn a lot about eBay and its ins and outs and that sort of thing, and started Wonder Car Parts back in 2006, which was not a good time to start any business. During the recession, you couldn't borrow any money, so my business operates on a drop ship model. And back then, the brands or even some of the distributors didn't quite even understand what that meant. So I pioneered some of that with some of the brands we continue to do business with today, and went with it. And so, 19 years later, still doing the drop shipping model. Works very, very well for us. We build our own back-end software to handle all of the inventories and pricing and all that sort of stuff. Our company is kind of like a family, like you have mentioned. A lot of in-laws and sisters and sons and daughters and friends, and those that have been hired in that weren't friends are now family and friends as well. So you mentioned eBay community. It truly is a community, not only at eBay, but at our warehouse or at our offices, and I think that's what makes us successful. We work together. When we come in, we collaborate. It's kind of what we do. So what kind of makes our business sort of stand out a little bit more than maybe others is that we control our own destiny by our own software, so that we can pivot at any point in time depending on market conditions or whatever. Another thing that I would like to mention is we wouldn't be here without our partners, eBay being one of them, but also the brands and the distributors. So it's very important that if you're in this or you're thinking about getting into this model, so to speak, it's all about your relationships and your partners. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Brad. Look forward to learning more from you. Chris.
All right, what do I do? So first off, I've known Brad for a long time. He's, in my opinion, like the Derek Jeter of scaling fitment compatibility in motors, which makes me the Pete Rose of scaling, I think, in fitment compatibility in motors. My background story, I'll give the 10,000-foot overview of it. Graduated from Michigan State University in 2009. I was the weird third grader who wanted to go work for a hedge fund. That was my dream job. 2009 was the worst time in the history of capitalism to go into investment banking. Did the only logical thing that made sense at the time, played poker professionally for 2.5, almost 3 years. Literally got done with the ESPN taping of the World Series of Poker in 2011. If you go back to it, you can see like the back of my head and my hands a lot. I was successful, but not wildly successful doing it, but it was a really cool living for a kid at the time. Literally flew home the next day, was working the parts counter at my grandfather's store where we grew up, small family business, small power sports dealership. It was founded by my great-grandfather in 1944 as a Hudson car dealership. We transitioned to some agriculture Hudson is no longer a business anymore. Transitioned to agriculture, sold tractors, picked up power sports in the early 90s, 8 employees, and I just kind of never left. My eBay life started, we had Hudson car parts up in the attic that nobody was ever going to walk into the store and buy, but they were worth their weight in gold to somebody, restoring them. Started selling those on eBay. This was back, 2011 really. And then once I ran out of that, I wonder if somebody will buy a lawnmower or an off-road vehicle part online. Went from 8 employees in 2011 to just over 200 today. Annually now, between the couple of different companies that operate and sell on eBay, we do about 130 million in GMV and about 1.5 million orders. I've relearned my job 12 times along the way. As the organization's grown, and I'm still learning it every single day. But yeah, it's been a fun ride and been a big supporter and a big loyalist to eBay for a long time.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, all of you. I hope you can see, you, the online audience, and the audience in the room, why I think these are celebrities worth being excited to see here at eBay Open. Great businesses and a lot to learn from them. Brad, I'm going to start with a few questions for you. Drop shipping is an interesting business model, certainly something I think many of these good sellers that are here with us today have considered, probably with some curiosity and maybe a little bit of caution. So as we go through these questions, think about that from an audience interest perspective. But how do you manage supplier relationships and inventory accuracy in that dynamic of getting the inventory from them and delivering it to a buyer?
Well, first of all, you've got to vet your suppliers. You have to understand where their technology is at. Are they able to provide inventory on as much as they can basis? You'll find, or we find today, we have all the suppliers are different. Some will give you real-time updates all the time. Some will do it hourly. Some will do daily. Some will do it once a day. So you have to navigate all that stuff to figure out how to best mitigate that so that you never run out of inventory. It's going to happen. You just have to also prepare for that sort of stuff to happen. But the way we do it is we're constantly pinging all of our suppliers all the time for pricing and inventory, and we've got safeguards in place depending on the velocity of the product, how fast it sells. Also, we monitor each supplier independently based on are they meeting our SLAs or even their own SLAs for shipping out on time, providing tracking on time, that sort of thing. The problem that we run into as a drop shipper that you have to be worried about is you got a million other sellers trying to fight for that inventory. So when you get down to the lower levels, it can be scarfed up really quickly. So you've got to be on your game with inventory all the time.
Yeah, great answer. This industry is pretty physical. The parts, they have a physical presence, a weight, and when they arrive to the buyer, the intent is some sort of installation or application. How do you, what are the keys to success when you're not physically touching or feeling that inventory?
Well, yeah, that's a risk. And so back in the day, I just went with it and just dealt with the consequences. Today, I would highly recommend that any distributor or manufacturer you work with, go face-to-face, check out their operation, get to know them personally, but more importantly, go out into the warehouse and see what that product looked like. When you see all that product on the shelf, is it clean? Or the boxes look like they're brand new? Do they take returns and put them back on the shelf and sell them as new? That's the stuff you're looking for. And then you're looking at how they distribute the product from the shelf down to the bays where UPS or FedEx or the freight companies are picking up. Does it look like it's orderly? Does it look like chaos? You're looking at all of these things to make sure that this is your back end. So they're representing your company. So if you see damaged items and that sort of thing, you need to address that stuff right away, figure out what that means, because if you don't deal with it right there, you're going to deal with it at the end with the customer, and that's the problem. So I highly recommend if you do this type of model, you vet your suppliers, you ask around, kind of like if you're hiring a new employee, you want to talk to references. You do your due diligence, because it's going to make your company better if you do that, and it's much easier to nip it in the bud in the beginning as opposed to later on down the road. And then if you do run into those problems, part of the way those occurrences occur is through the customer. Listen to the customer, look at your feedback, make adjustments, and then go right to the supplier and nip it in the bud. There's products out there you think you can sell, and you sell a lot of it, but some of this stuff is not meant to ship. And then just also have the ability to cut it. If you're not making money or it's causing your business to look bad, cut the product, move on.
Yeah.
Or fix it. If you can fix it with your supplier, fix it or find another supplier.
Yeah, that's actually great advice, Brad, is identify inventory that may be causing a problem down line, specifically with buyers, and eliminate it, or, as you said, fix it. And I really like the advice about basically these suppliers are an extension of your business, and know them in a way that you would know an employee. That's great advice. So considering that at least some of these sellers who've joined us today, either online or in person, would be curious about trying a model like this, any advice? I mean, you've given good advice, but what would you say they should do first?
Well, if I kind of were to do it, differently, pick a niche, pick something you're passionate about, and focus on that. I've kind of morphed into, we sell everything. And I'm able to do that because of the relationships and the technology that I have. But find a product that you're truly passionate about. That's what it's about these days. It's content too. So like if you're passionate about it, that means it's going to be presented in the products that you're offering. So that would be like number one. Number two, you need to understand that, especially on the sales channels, the metrics that go along with that, making sure that your handling times are accurate, your shipping times are accurate, your product descriptions are accurate, all that type of stuff. It's not as glorious as some of the influencers out there make it seem. It's not that easy. So, and the margins are small. You're buying from someone else, so they're making a little bit more than you are, and you have to live within that margin. So I recommend find a niche that you're passionate about, vet your supplier, and then make sure you have good listings, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. I love the recommendation about passion. That makes a lot of sense and certainly drives you and likely the buyers who are interested in your product. Chris.
Yes, sir.
Motorcycle, power sports, home, lawn and garden type products. What makes power sports or that segment of inventory different and unique from a customer interaction perspective?
Different and unique from like automotive or
or maybe anything else at eBay.
I mean, I think it is a little bit more niche-y than automotive. The markets overall are smaller, but there tends to be a little bit less competition because of that. You don't have as many giant organizations. If you look across power sports and you look at national parts sales outside of the OEMs, nobody really has a ton of market share. It's not like that exists in the same way in automotive. So provides some opportunities there. Challenges on the flip side of that is that AOV tends to be lower, and in any e-commerce business, AOV is a direct correlation to profitability or the ease of profitability. And so as the vehicles that you're selling the parts for go down in value, naturally your average part that's going to replace that or the justification a consumer's making to repair that product is going to be lower. So that presents a few challenges. It drives up shipping costs as a percent of total sales. But I would say that's the biggest contrasting differences between, automotive as a general category and power sports.
Yeah, good insight. Thank you. I appreciate that. Across all of P&A, fitment and the data that drives that is critical. How do you handle that compatibility for your categories and the aftermarket customization that often happens with a side-by-side or anything in the power sports space?
So the main driver, the main purpose right behind fitment and compatibility is that a consumer who doesn't know any better, he's just looking for the solution for his product, right? And to be able to have the confidence of going, yep, that's the one I own, click and buy, is a huge deal. And I've always said that there's automotive. Power sports is about 10 or 20 years behind automotive in terms of the cleanliness and the available data and fitment and compatibility. And then half of my business is actually in lawn and garden, which I've always thought should be in motors, but it's in home and garden. I don't know why. But with lawnmowers, it's even more challenging. That's 10 or 20 years behind power sports. They're still living in the 80s. The manufacturers don't even know what parts fit. It creates a lot of challenges to manage that and to figure it out, but that also creates opportunity. When it's easy and cookie cutter, it means that the barrier to entry is small, so it allows us to do it. To make an analogy, if you own a 99 Chevy Silverado, you know you own a 99 Silverado. If you own a lawnmower, it's red. And how do you get a consumer, a husband who maybe said, hey, gave it to his wife, hey, find this part for me. Now we're looking and we're searching on eBay. How do you get and match up the right components? So it's a combination between managing fitment compatibility databases. We have our own proprietary that we built over time. We took what really existed, but then applied some of our tribal knowledge to it, where we were like, oh yeah, this part's the same as that part, or we know it fits this chassis. Or when new vehicles and models come out, but we know that it's the exact same production just another year, we're ahead of where the catalogs get to. It's really staying up on that. And then the photography, having accurate stock photography, because the consumer has a part in their hand and it's broken, and they're trying to find it. Now that can bite you in a lot of cases as well, because things look like, that's a carburetor, aren't they all the same? But those two things in combination drive, it's all about confidence, right? It's just solving a problem. Somebody just wants to get the part, get it on the way. If you can make that confidence connection, done.
Great. Do you find that you have to handle customers differently when they're buying a lawnmower part that is just very functional versus a UTV part that's very passion driven? And is there a difference in how you handle those transactions, either in the listing process or the servicing of that part?
Yeah, I think the line is drawn for us more in the accessories versus hard parts realm, right? It's want versus need. From an advertising standpoint, from a demand standpoint, I couldn't offer a deal on a set of brake pads. If you don't need brake pads today, the price could be anything and you're not going to buy them, right? It's very response driven, very data driven. They're going to go brake pads for this, then they're going to look to buy. If it's an accessory, it's more, I always make the analogy to like a cell phone case. You can convince somebody to buy a really cool cell phone case and they didn't know they wanted one a minute ago. Accessories are a little bit more like that. So from a content creation standpoint, the hard part side tends to be more, we'll call it Excel-based and more data-driven, where an accessory, you really have to sell the product, especially if people are comparing amongst other things. We find it's just less in hard parts. Hard parts is fulfilling a need. Is it good quality? Does it tackle the need? Good. And the accessories, that's pretty cool, I want that, right? And so it's a little bit of a different realm.
Got it. Thank you. So you just talked about your peer set in that space being maybe a little smaller than automotive parts. But if you were to mentor an up-and-coming seller and talk them through or help them avoid mistakes you've made, what would you tell them?
I think the one thing, and you hear this all the time, everywhere you go, what has actually never been said is nobody's ever said, well, you actually don't need good people to be successful. Like, company doesn't need good people. Everybody universally agrees, whatever book you read, podcast, whatever, it's find good people, find people you trust, pay them well. It's not a bargain shopping opportunity to try and find, this guy will do the job a little bit cheaper. Find great people, retain them. Because at the end of the day, if you're looking to grow your business, there's a point where you won't scale. There's only 24 hours a day, there's only so much coffee in the world, you can only tackle so much in founder mode before you start to crash. And as you grow, you go from solving the problems at a micro level to having to manage the problems at a macro level. And it's a tough transition, and I struggled with it for years because I love being in the weeds. I'd much rather be an engineer than an organizational leader. But I had to learn that skill set. I can still be in the weeds, but it's taken a long time. You've just got to find good people and then retain them. And those are some of the best investments you can make. That and not being afraid to make other capital investments in your business is really important. People will go, well, we can't afford a new high-low. It's X amount of dollars, but the one you have is breaking down every day. You can't afford not to. Those capital investments are so important, whether it's for you, it's software or it's equipment or it's warehousing. Getting ahead of just solving the fire and waiting until it becomes a problem before making the investment is a tough transition, but if you get there, it helps growth a lot. And even if you're sacrificing short-term profitability to do so, if there's a larger plan, that's the best way to think about it. Try to get 6 months or a year ahead of yourself instead of 6 months behind yourself.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love the long-term thinking. I mean, all of that is subject to capital and budget and ability to achieve it, but thinking about the next 3 steps and not just the one in front of you, hard to do, but great advice.
Very hard to do. Yeah. Not easy at all.
That's great. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Vladimir, used tires is such a fascinating inventory segment. If someone wants to start being your competitor, what do they need to know about selling used tires before they get started?
It's a tough business.
Good luck.
You know what? You reminded me about a story because I asked one of my competitors back in the days when we started. I asked him that question, and he said, "You were too late. It's better not to start." Right? But I want to say used tires, you want to do your due diligence. You want to find out associated costs, especially with shipping. That is challenging and pricey. You want to study your competitors. You want to know the demand. So you want to educate yourself as much as possible. And before even entering, I think it'd be useful to do some concept test to kind of prove the concept of your business. and learn, in fact, with all the circumstances I'm going to be facing, listing tire and shipping the tire. Other than that, I think you want to be very descriptive, especially with used product. You want to know whether the customer's expectations and describe everything as well as detailed photos of your product. That would be my recommendation.
That's great. Thank you. So all those of you who are really anxious to get started in the used tire business, you've got two pieces of advice. One, don't try it, or follow the suggestions Vladimir just gave. You answered this a little bit. I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Sure.
Such a unique piece of inventory. How do you assess for yourself so you can be confident and then convey confidence to the buyer that the product they're buying is something they should have trust in?
That starts with what we call three-point inspection. We have a very thorough inspection. Each and every tire goes through visual, water, and air test. Then we have a very transparent description. We have detailed photos. We provide 60-day return policy, 1-year warranty, and 24-hour customer service. So we are very dedicated for customer satisfaction.
Maybe this is a dumb question. I'm going to ask it anyway. Why air and water?
Of course. So with air, you can only hear if there's anything leaks out of the tire. With water, you can spot on some bubbling. We use water mixed with soap. So it gives you a visual understanding whether there is any damages or defects.
So you sell used tires, which is amazing, but you also sell new tires. Is
Correct.
there a significant difference in return rate between those two products?
Our new inventory is relatively very small, and I'd say the returns are much larger on the used tires.
Okay.
Of course, there's still a risk that we might miss something like a little puncture. Yeah.
Just the nature of the business.
Correct.
That makes sense. When you're faced with advice like you got from that first competitor in the space, don't try, you're too late. What motivates you to try anyway?
Good question. You know what? As I mentioned, to me it was more of a survival. So I had options, either hard labor or I had to figure out a business idea, because I could not compete since lack of English and no education. And going back to school also wasn't an exciting option for me. And it's obsession, I guess. That's part of who I am. I just keep pushing until I understand it's not going to work. And that's what happened. Yeah. We just keep on trying, learning, and getting better.
That's great. That persistence. That makes sense. Thank you for that. I'll just pause for a minute and just re-emphasize the reason these three gentlemen and the businesses they represent, which are multi-million-dollar businesses each, represent celebrities for me. Is you can tell in their thoughts, they're mature businessmen. They run a business that is wildly successful in a space that probably is a little unexpected.